South Asian Canadian channel.
Hi, this is Priyanka Chopra and you're watching Channel Y.
The biggest South Asian media group, Y Media. Y Media has newspaper, midweek, radio, South Asian Pulse.
Hi, I'm Amitabh Bachchan and you're listening to South Asian Pulse.
Hi, this is Amir Khan and you're listening to South Asian Pulse.
अब हर दिन सुने GTA का नंबर 1 रेडियो स्टेशन FM 91.9.
You are watching Channel Y. Channel Y.
Prime Minister, welcome.
It's a pleasure to be here. It's a pleasure to be back.
Online, SouthAsianDaily.com. The biggest South Asian media group, Y Media.
Welcome to Y Media. You're watching Channel Y. I'm your host, Shelly Saini, and joining me today is a very special guest. Now, this person that I'm talking about has been a political journalist. He has been a sports journalist as well and has covered more than 52 international sports events. And currently, he has been given the responsibility of being the fundraising officer for the Twickenham Labour Party. What a pleasure to have you on board with me right now, Mr. Kiran. A very warm welcome.
Hi, good evening. Hi, Charlie. How are you doing?
I'm very well. How are you?
Yes, I'm very well, very well. Just finished off a press conference today with Tyson Fury versus Derek Chisora, and it's two boxing legends who are going to be fighting on Saturday. So yeah, I've been, it's bid excellent, really good fun.
Well, your plate is always full. How do you manage your day? I want to start with this question.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's always, as a journalist, as yourself, there's always, breaking news, etc., or, news stories that we find. But, I just kind of set my day off in a very positive attitude to work, to to being open-minded, etc. If it comes to social life, just trying to, get up every day and go to work and, do something productive. And, if it comes to work, just kind of find good news stories, etc. But yeah, I love my job. It really is very good fun.
Well, you know what? There aren't many people in the world who get up every day and get to say that, wow, I love my work. I'm glad you are one of those few.
Yeah.
You have many accolades under your belt and you have a career spanning more than a decade as a journalist. I'm going to talk about what lies ahead, but I really want to understand the time when you started. What really motivated you to become a journalist?
Well, to be honest, Charlie, I had a very difficult kind of starting career. I wanted to, when you watch Bollywood films, when I was 15 years old, 17 years old, I wanted to become an actor. And I went to Mumbai and I realized that going to Mumbai was a very hard kind of career, especially when you have to knock on everyone's door. And then I went to Los Angeles and knocked on everyone's door. And I did that for about 3 years. And I realized actually, starting acting was fun, but also it was a lot of struggle. It was a very big struggle. So I decided at that point, I said, look, instead of being on the red carpet, as in being the celebrity and trying to be that celebrity, because most actors, that's what they're, well, not all of them, but majority of them anyway. But I decided to take back and go on the other side and be the interviewer. And, it's been excellent, traveling the world and meeting great people. And, it's been really good fun. That's, how do I say this in other words? It's a perspective of life. We move forward. We find different stuff to do. And, journalism is a great career, as because you get to meet very interesting people, but also ask very serious questions to people, questions that people don't have the authority or don't have the confidence to ask. When you interview someone like, I know last week I interviewed someone who was Osama bin Laden's, he was the Navy SEAL officer. I interviewed him. And Robbie O'Neill, he was the one who killed Osama bin Laden. And I asked him my question. I said, what happened when you went back to America? What was your opinion about when you went back to America? What was your opinion about Osama bin Laden? The same. So you get to ask the questions. And that's the great thing about journalism, and that's the reason why I've done it for 13 years. And it's been excellent,
You definitely put forward the bold step ahead. But you mentioned the point of asking the right questions. Now, what really piqued my interest is you have been a political journalist and a sports journalist, and these two beats are poles apart. How do you strike a chord between these two?
So I was head of sports events at the Daily Sport newspaper. It was one of the largest newspapers in England here, and I was a sports journalist for them for about 4 or 5 years. And then I went on to as a political journalist at the Express newspaper, and then I started working for a national kind of news agency in America called the New York Press News Agency. Sports fun, I've done 53 international sports events. From today onwards. But sports are fun. You get to meet very interesting people, very interesting sports athletes. But political is always good because a couple of months ago, I was invited to Downing Street to meet Boris Johnson at Number 10 through, a family who invited me from a friend in my local borough, etc. And it was great meeting them, but also meeting Boris and, having a couple of drinks, and, it was really great, so there's always a shift change when it comes to politics, because you grill, how do you say this? Politicians are used to be grilled, they used to be grilling, they not they like it, but they're used to it. Celebrities and sports stars, unless they've done something really wrong, they're not really used to people giving them a bit of a push. So it's a different dynamic, it's an excellent, it's a different dynamic. Absolutely.
Kiran, I really have to say you make everything sound so easy. You just met the former Prime Minister and you mentioned that as if it was a regular meeting. How do you do that so effortlessly? And in fact, the meeting with Boris Johnson was one of my questions. And since you have mentioned that topic, I really want to know more about the meeting. Did you get a chance to ask him about his current political view, about the current Prime Minister, Rishi Sunak?
Well, we had an off-screen conversation for about 10 minutes, and I was alone with him in the Guardians, and I was with him and an entire crew and people, etc., around us for about 4 hours. But I had 5-6 minutes with him, and I did ask him, what's his current situation with Liz Truss, because Liz Truss was a prime minister before Rishi Sunak. Rishi Sunak's become the first Hindu prime minister, which is excellent for us Uplanders and us diversities. Is excellent. It really shows that people from color can come through and have an opportunity. I think Rishi's a fantastic prime minister, but we also have to wait and see what he does. It's all good being a Hindu prime minister, which is great, but he also needs to add value to that as well. But he is how do I say this? Boris Johnson is an extraordinary man. He's got great charisma, but also remember one thing: he was a journalist before, so he's not stupid. He's very smart, Charlie. He's very smart. He knows how to manipulate the media. Not manipulate, I can't say that, but he knows how to make something big and bring it, and make something small and make it bigger. So, people say, is Boris Johnson really eccentric character off screen? Just a nice person. Okay, what he did in Downing Street by doing street parties and garden parties, etc., and not people seeing their families, when people's loved ones died, that was wrong. But prime ministers always have on and off. We all know that. No one's perfect in this life. So we have to do what we have to do. But I like Boris. He's a brilliant. He's a brilliant politician, in my opinion. Right.
You mentioned it's good for people of color, for Rishi Sunak, the first Hindu heritage person to become the prime minister. To what the situation is right now versus if you go back like 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, or the time when you were growing up, like as a kid, what was the situation like, you being a person of color, especially? And I want to understand both the spectrums, you coming to India with an accent, trying to break it into Bollywood, then going to LA, trying to make yourself a big name there. Did you face any challenges based on your background, based on your ethnicity?
Yes and no. I'm very lucky. There's one thing about me, Charlie, one thing about me, my grandma has very light green eyes. And also it was passed down between my father and then to me. And also I'm very pale. So people can, when they see me or my father, they look at us and go, he could be Italian, could be Spanish. It's not just Indian. So the breaking racism, diversity, boundary is half off me, right? Which is lucky for myself, but other my friends, they may not have had that, right? So the situation when me going to India with an English accent, I mean, did I understand Hindi at the time? No. You know, what did I think I could be like Katrina Kaif at the time and go there and think, well, you know, if she made it in London, etc., or she made it in India, can I? Yes, I thought that. Did I think it was hard? Yes. Did a lot of people lead me on in the industry? Yeah. Did people take my money? Absolutely, they took my money. So would I recommend Bollywood to other people? I wouldn't. I mean, I would give it to people that are financially secure, that can afford to play the boundaries, but people that are really serious about it, no, it's a very hard career. You know, I wouldn't encourage anyone to do that unless they had no choice. You know, I saw a lot of things about India that I love, but I also saw a lot of things about India that I didn't particularly agree with. Did it scare me? It scared the hell out of me, you know, but I learned Indian mentality, and also came back to London and I learned how to respect my elders more. So I learned that but by coming to India, giving my family, you know, going to the mandir more, maybe being respectful to my grandma, you know, being respectful to my mum and dad. You know, elders in India are very respected to their parents and their children, etc. So that's something I definitely learned. Yeah.
That's a great takeaway from your experience, and actually a very good practical tip that you have shared with our audience. I want to move on to your journalism career. And over the time, you have done some phenomenal coverage. And I want to specifically talk about the path-breaking stories that you have been a part of, and that involved influential families. Nelson Mandela's family, Martin Luther King's family, to name a few. What was it like to be surrounded by influential people like that?
To be honest, it was, Charlie, the thing on me is I look at people the way they are as people. You understand? It's very good saying, oh, he's got 5 million Instagram followers, she's got 25,000, she's got 100,000, she's got 100 million. You know, followers to me doesn't mean anything. These people, remember one thing, the Martin Luther King family, the Nelson Mandela family, the Muhammad Ali family, I also did the Winston Churchill family. You know, these people are just human beings, but they have a credibility in this world. So it's how you deal with them. You know, we show respect, yes, as journalists, as yourself, you know, you show respect, but also and you would know this, you have to, when you look at someone through, not through the camera, but through, you know, meeting someone or on the Zoom, etc., you always take them as who they are as people, you know, because remember, they're human beings like us. They have their faults, they have their mistakes. So once you get past that stardom of saying, oh my God, I'm meeting so-and-so, then everything becomes more easier. Then you realize actually nobody can hurt you. It doesn't matter if Jay Sean's sitting in front of me, or I don't know, the Prime Minister or the Queen is sitting in front of me, because at the end of the day, you were so trained to look at three people through our eyes and go, this person is just a human being. You know, but the breaking news stories, yes, Martin Luther King's daughter, Bernice King, was talking about George Floyd at the time when the racism happened. I managed to get the exclusive interview for that. Nelson Mandela's grandson was talking to me about Winnie Mandela and his family, and also Nelson Mandela. Muhammad Ali's nephew was also talking to me about him becoming a boxer, etc. at the time. The Churchill family also spoke to me about what they're planning to do, etc. in with the Churchill family. But also, I was also part of the Taliban. I wasn't part of the Taliban. I was part of the Taliban peace negotiations.
I wanted to ask the same question. When
There we
you
go.
were in that situation,
Hmm.
I don't think it's easy to look at people from Taliban just as people. Wasn't it scary?
I was very scared. But the good thing is, because it was over Zoom, I was very lucky. I had a friend of mine from Afghanistan. A lot of very well senior journalists had to go to Doha to do the interview. So I managed to call, the head of, I managed to, with my connections, etc. in Afghanistan, I managed to, find the leader of the Taliban and settle him down and get him on Zoom, which was very unique. But also I grilled him about the Indian photographer called Danish Siddiqui. He got murdered in India. Sorry, he got murdered in Afghanistan. And I told him what he did was very wrong. And, he tried to lie to me. Mr. Sahel Shaheen did lie to me and said, oh, it wasn't our fault. But I told him, with all due respect, we know it was you. We know, we know that you can't expect to be respected in this culture, in this generation. And at the same time, you're killing journalists at the same time. We're come to report on behalf of what you say is a good country, but at the same time, you're getting rid of journalists and photographers. So what happened in India with Danish Siddiqui was horrible. So that's why, one of the reasons why I managed to get him down on Zoom. And yeah, it was amazing,
I really like your response. It was amazing. Okay. And was there ever a point where you had to maybe change your question because they weren't ready to answer you, or was there any pressure from the Taliban side ever?
Well, I mean, to be honest, you know what it is? It depends how you come across on the interview, Charlie. You can Piers Morgan, for instance. Piers Morgan, great journalist. Very top journalist actually. But at the same time, he goes in a bit of an aggressive approach. It depends how you come across on TV or in the news. You can come across nice, respectful at the start, say Salaam alaikum, or you can say Namaste or Sasrikal, whatever. But then I always think you break down the small bits first and say, tell me about Afghanistan. And then when you get him comfortable, then you attack. That's one of the reasons how I've learned. You don't just go for the kill straight away, because then that's your interview done. But he was, how do I say this? He was, he was respectful to me. He wasn't very happy that, I must have called him about 150 million times to get him on Zoom. And he wasn't happy, but managed to get him on there. But, but a push and a shove. And, he wasn't happy to talk about, he was telling me about children's, women rights, etc., and education and girls' education is all there. But I told him, in other words, basically, we know you're lying. Yeah, he didn't like it. I told him very clearly, I know you're lying. I know you're just doing this for the camera, but I'll just take it as a pinch of salt. And, but, how do I say this? What can I do? I'm only part of the media negotiations, but, I did my best. How about that?
Right, you definitely did. And the strategy you take, don't go for the kill right away. I like that.
Yeah.
And talking of strategy, it has definitely changed and evolved over the years, especially with the social media platforms giving access to everyone and anyone with the kind of news they want to present, the way they want to present. What's your take on that?
Social media. In my personal opinion, look, if I had to be honest with you, lots of people are just being, how do I say this? They're being, how do I say this? In other words, social media is a great tool for what if we want to, how do I say this? As people that are powerful, etc., right? But there's also a lot of people that just do it for the fame. A lot of these people on TikTok, these young people that just make stupid videos over nothing, or they're naked, or they're, showing their body parts, and they do silly stuff like they'll, put people's hair, they'll tie someone to a tree and think it's funny. They'll do anything for fame. To me, there has to be a level of control on social media. I think social media is a very good thing, but also I think it's also very dangerous as well for young people, because it doesn't get people out the house. I know lots of friends who are these so-called YouTubers, and they sit there all day and try and become YouTubers, and they call me up and say, and I just say, look, get yourself a proper job. Get yourself a proper job. Yes, you may earn millions, but get yourself a hard working job when you're out there, you're making money, you're networking with people. Anyone can make a funny video or a ridiculous video, Charlie. But in order to make great content or great work, you need to go out, you need to network, you want to be a YouTuber, find proper content, not just running around the house naked. This kind of stuff. It's just, to me, it's in my opinion, there's a great side and there's a bad side.
Absolutely, that is so true. And speaking of real work that has real value, added value to it, you have done some commendable work in the past. What lies ahead? What are you working on right now?
So right now I've just been elected in my local borough as the fundraising officer for the Twickenham Labour Party. I'm very happy. I'm taking my time with it. I've got a meeting with them the next couple of days. It's been a roller coaster. I'm going to go into the political aspect. I'm working my way up. I think now because Rishi, has become our prime minister, he has paved a way for lots of Desi and Asians and Hindus and Punjabis and Muslims and whatever you are. The diversity section has improved a lot since he's become prime minister. Before, was it great? Well, it was all right. People were just, maybe there was some secret agenda. They didn't really secret segregation. But now, since Rishi's become the prime minister and he's become a man of diverse, he has shown the way. So hopefully, when I get my hat on next year and I will properly do things properly. Right now, I've just, I'm taking it slow with my Labour Party, and we'll move forward, and also the great thing is I'm the only Indian person in that actual borough in the Twickenham Labour Party out of all the members. And I think there's more than 500 members. So being elected as the first Asian fundraising officer is, to me, I'm very happy. I'm very honored,
Well, you are a trailblazer in your own way then. And if I may ask, because you have your eye on the future, where do we see Kiran Rai in the next 5 or 10 years?
With
respect to your, if I may say, political career?
Hopefully I can, how do I say this? People say to me, I must be mad, wanting to become prime minister, wanting to become an MP. I am not going to do what I used to do and tell people something without actually doing it, because I used to say, even though I do it all the time anyway, when I say something, I'm going to do it. But I'd rather take my time this time. I'm only 30 years old. It's not like I'm 35 or 40 or 45 or 50 where I have to be worried a tiny bit. I'm still 30 years old. I've been working since I was 15 years old. So I'm going to give myself a bit of time and I'm going to learn politics first. It's very good interviewing. That might, we've been we've been doing that for years on end. But going on the other side now and knowing my research, so I'm reading books, I'm learning. So in the perspective of work, I want to run for prime minister one day. I hope so. I think I'll be very strong, but also very strict prime minister. I'll be very strict, but also I'll be very fair on the people. Because end of the day, as a prime minister, we need to be there for the people. We're not there to, make millions, etc., etc. I mean, Donald Trump and all that kind of stuff. We need to. How do I say this? If I was going to be prime minister, I would be very fair, but also very strict. But also, I think that's great because it will keep people in structure, keep people in line, saying, right, this is what we want to do. This is what you need. And I would be a people's person. I am who I am. That's just the way it is. I'm not going to be somebody I'm not,
Well, you know what? The society needs more people like you who can strike the balance between being fair and strict. Thank you so much for talking to us. And here's from Y Media. We are wishing you all the best. And we definitely see you fulfilling the dream that you have projected here with us. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And I want to say congratulations to you and also good luck with all your success. And I think you're a fantastic journalist and fantastic presenter. So thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
South Asian Canadian channel.
Hi, this is Priyanka Chopra and you're watching Channel Y.
The biggest South Asian media group, Y Media. Y Media has newspaper, midweek, radio, South Asian Pulse.
Hi, I'm Amit. Amitabh Bachchan, and you're listening to South Asian Pulse.
Hi, this is Amir Khan, and you're listening to South Asian Pulse.
अब हर दिन सुने GTA का नंबर 1 रेडियो स्टेशन FM 91.9.
You are watching Channel Y. Channel Y.
Prime Minister, welcome. It's a pleasure to be here. It's a pleasure to be back.
Online, SouthAsianDaily.com. The biggest South Asian media group. Y Media.